Hi. So we are actually going live now with Dalit Rosin from Israel. She's a professional organizer. And I'm going to invite Dalit, and I'll let you know more about Dalit when she joins. Hi, Joe.
Hi, can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, great.
You look stunning, sitting there in the sun. Is it
Yeah.
very hot already?
It's it's hard for me. It's not very hot considering Israel, but it's very warm, so it could annoy the whole. Dalit's coming on.
Is she joining? Can you see?
Yeah, I just saw her at the bottom.
Okay, 1 second. Let's hope this works. She requested to join. How do I let her in? Okay, excuse us, guys. We're just figuring this out. It says Dalit is unable to join. Okay, let's try again. I'm going to invite her again. Dalit, if you're there, I'm sending you another invite. Hopefully there's not too many. Oh, there you are! We did it!
I'm so proud of myself. I accepted a technological challenge.
So are we.
Brilliant! Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm just going to tell everyone a bit about you, and then hopefully you can help us a bit with our Pesach preparations. Joe, do you want to start?
So Dalit has lived in Israel since 2007 and resides today with her husband and children in Gush Etzion.
Dalit works as a professional organizer and is motivated to reinstate a sense of calm and joy in the home. Less is more is how she tries to live. As a professional organizer, Dalit travels to a variety of homes in many different life challenges, births, deaths, and divorces, helping to declutter, reorganize, downsize, and change spaces, and work out how best to use that space. Dalit expresses her understanding that being invited into a client's home is both a sensitive topic and a privilege.
Her passions are coffee dates, winter sun, and walks in the nature.
So thank you so much for joining us, Dalit.
Thank you.
Really good to see you. We should explain, actually, we know each other from way back. How many years have we all known each other?
Trying to work it out. Like
15?
18 or 20? No, not 15.
Oh,
at
gosh.
least
18,
15 years. At least 15 years. Put it like that.
I would say at least.
Yeah.
I think I've been here for 12 years, and then before that was like a good 3-ish, maybe more. Yeah, about 15, 16 years. So
Oh, gosh. I feel old.
like the age of like your biggest child, which is quite crazy
Yeah, that's
to think.
17, almost 18. Almost
Oh
18.
wait, so when that's how you can work it out. How old is Yona?
He's almost 18. In June, he'll be 18.
Okay, so like Yona was about 2, I think. So there you go, 16 years.
Yeah. That's a long
But you're
time.
still looking young. We're still looking young. We're still looking healthy.
I hope so. Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. We wanted to ask you about your Pesach preparations and your planning. Where are you up to with it all?
Okay, so I love looking at a calendar and just working it out kind of from that. Like, so as of now, we need to be ready by Friday next week. So today is Monday. Okay, yeah, Monday. No, is it Tuesday today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Tuesday.
Right. Ooh, the days are catching up. So it's 8, 9, we've got 10 days, officially 10 days to make it all happen. So up until this point, like I really think that you should buy today or, already have bought all the dried non-perishable essentials. So that's for anything from the spices to jam, coffee, tea, sugar, salt, I've said that, that's within the spices, oil, grape juice, wine, plastics if that's what you go by for the week, because there really is no judgment. And some people don't have the space or don't have the energy or both. So if they maybe have one set that's like real plates for Pesach, which is only basari, and they don't have, it's a full kitchen to have both the chalavi and the basari. So I definitely give leeway to, being non-judgmental about like using plastics, because I think that as long as you're trying to do your bit, like the sanity is more important than anything else. So that's one of my things, because the reason why I'm saying this is because I put out a list on Facebook for people like about a week and a half ago or something about what to buy for the dried goods. And I had a few comments back saying, please don't buy plastic, da 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 da. And my general approach is everything should work for you. It shouldn't be what works for you, Joanna, won't work for Bracha and won't work for me. So I think you have to be understanding of like who you are and your needs and how much help you have in your family, and also, what you're doing before that. If you're home quarantining a whole bunch of children, if you're working the whole time, like I think you have to also like be kind to yourself and know your limitations.
Yes, 100%. I must admit, I don't yet have a set of Pesach dishes for either chalavi or basari. I have
It takes time.
pans and I have cutlery, and I've just got glasses last year, but I don't have
Okay.
the dishes.
So my thing is like I kind of say this with one of my friends, that like every year you buy something, something else, because if you're buying it all in one go, it's like so much money. But every year, just to like, let's say even after Pesach and something like that, you're in like a department store and they have 70% off amazing cutlery set, or any kind of real like kelim that you can use for Pesach. Like, always be mindful that, I can like pick that up, especially if it's in a sale, and just add it along to your collection. Like, I don't expect people to have a fully functioning kitchen, like if you're lucky enough to, which is wonderful. But, I think like it took me a few years till I got my meat set of dishes. And then on the back it said wash by hand. So I was like, oh, that's fun. But they are really, really pretty, and I guess it does make me feel nice. And to be fair, like most of the main meals we're having, especially in the evenings, like I'm very British still. Like I still have in Israel, like the main meal is lunchtime, like the meat, fish, heavy kind of meal for the kids. They give out at school as lunchtime, but so it's kind of hard to adapt, because then sometimes in the evening, like 2 of my kids are not on the school program. They refuse to eat the school lunches. They said it's the most disgusting thing. Even like chips and falafel they think is just vile. So like they only have like a sandwich at lunch, whereas my girls in the ganim, like in the nurseries, they're on the schools, they're in the gun system. They have full-on meals. So sometimes at dinner times it's like, okay, so like they can have 2 main meals, whatever. Life is always about like, balancing out questions, and organization in general is about that too.
Yeah, totally. No, because I saw you posting these lists on Facebook. What was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was a really good way of just getting started, just starting to think about what you're going to buy, when you're going to buy it, and when you're going to start everything, even before you just do it, just to like plan it out. That's why I wanted to do this live with you. Yeah.
And then I think, and sorry, just to interrupt. So you're saying like also about the planning, like I think also it's very, very important to bear in mind that Pesach cleaning, although it's a wonderful opportunity to spring clean, if you don't get there, it doesn't mean you can't do it after the Pesach. So, if you wanted to, like a lot of people at this point, like in our Yishuv on the WhatsApp groups, there's many messages going around like to give away, give away, give away. And everyone's giving things away because how are they Pesach cleaning? They're going through each drawer and they're seeing, oh, I don't need that. I haven't used this in a long time. I'll just give this away. The kid's grown out of this. And so with every item that they're doing, they're decluttering. So they're working out what they don't need to put aside, then giving that away, and then obviously putting the things in the drawer that they do, that they are going to keep and stuff like that. So, what was the question a second? Like I suddenly just like
making lists and the planning.
Oh, right. So about the planning, exactly. So I think it's good to kind of just plan. Like this is also a good time. Like now, I had to just work out like my about to turn 10-year-old son has had a major growth spurt. So like things I had bought him for school, annoyingly with the school emblem on the long sleeve shirts, for some reason he says that now after Corona, the school they don't really care if you wear the shirt to say the school name on it. It's very different to England. I think they just wear what they want. So like he basically hasn't worn it and they're all new, but now he's grown out of it. So it's like I had to then work out what, because of the growth spurt, like it's a good time, even though you're not decluttering as such, like it's a good time to change over the wardrobe, to work out like what summer things are in. And like, like I saw jumpers I'd kept at the back for my daughter who's 5, and she just turned 5 in November. And I think that she's more on the petite range, whereas her sister, who's 3, they kind of ironically are the same size because she's more on the heavy range. So like their difference is like their height. So it's just funny to work out kind of what kids fit into and like how to, take that out again and realize, okay, it may be a bit big, but better you keep things that are a bit big for your kids to grow into than that you're holding on to things that like, with the elbows being like, when they can't reach their elbows, and the trousers are getting like that a little bit too short that they look a little bit odd when they go out in them.
Yes.
And it's time around to say to your kid and turn around and say like, sweetie, they're beautiful, but you're too big now, so we're going to have to get you some more. And and then work out that the older one actually has only 3 pairs of trousers, whereas your second kid has like 20. But that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So do you have a Pesach countdown schedule that you could share with us? I know Bracha mentioned a shopping list. Maybe you could put it up. We could put it up on the Instagram pages.
Right. So that I'll share with you afterwards. So like, as I say, the dry goods is like the first thing you do. The other things like preparation is like, I think everybody knows that the kitchen is like the biggest job, and that goes at the very end. So if Shabbat, if it's Pesach coming in Friday night, because it's Shabbat, then goes into then goes into Saturday night is Pesach already. So people are already planning. Like I like to plan using things like with it. I like to also plan how to get rid of which I'm sure everyone's doing. How do you use up the food that you already have in your house? So like, how many meals can you make? Like maybe they'll have more pasta meals this week than you normally do, but if that's what you need to do in order to get rid of it, then that's kind of on your list. Like sometimes I feel like a lot of people have this problem, including myself, that sometimes you don't buy food and then for that last week, there's just no food in your house. So it is important to kind of like remember to buy that extra box of cereal, like things that your kids are going to eat every day, and to I like to work out a menu for the last certainly week, but if not like 9-10 days of what you're going to have, as well as like the Shabbat before, because I've heard this tip that I don't think Sfaradim don't hold by this, but I was told that Ashkenazim can have egg matzah on Friday, on Shabbat, because that technically counts as like, that's not for Pesach, and it's not a real chametz thing, so you can get away with that. Other people are doing pitot in bags because it's less crumb, it's like less crumbs, so it's less chametz to kind of worry about. And obviously by Shabbat, like either you have things like cooked in, not in like your real trays that you put on the platter, but like, the aluminium foil trays, things you can easily dispose of just before Pesach. So either that's like you bought like a kugel to go. But my recommendation is to like buy as many takeout items that they won't break your bank, like a potato kugel or not the whole menu. Like it's easy to just put on like if your oven's kosher for Pesach and you're putting chicken in there, then then that's basically, I feel like you're going to be eating Pesach food. You just with pita or egg matzah on the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously you'll be having like a minimal amount. Like you won't be having surplus that you might normally do that would go into your regular Sunday night leftover dinner.
Yeah. I'm trying to empty out the freezer. So I've got
Exactly.
a few kugels. So, in my
So
head.
it's also, right. And also not just that, like open packets of like vegetables, like frozen vegetables, like things you can put together like with anything really, like just to add like the bits together. And like I think it's also okay to just let your kids kind of eat things that maybe if you're quite conscious about health and nutrition with your family, I think now's the time to just kind of like let yourself go and just say, okay, so they're gonna be eating like 3 days in a row of like pasta and grilled cheese sandwiches, but you have to like make your life as simple. You can always just go to and pick up a falafel, certainly over here, or like just pick up some barekas. Like it doesn't have to be expensive food.
Yeah. I mean, that actually leads us on to our next question, which is, this year in particular has been pretty stressful for a lot of people. So what tips do you have for easing us into Pesach, making it a little bit easier, the transition?
Well, I think we had this. We kind of. I would like to say like we got this because last year was just like a shock to the system. Like people were having dilemmas about having their single grandparent come to their house because they weren't really allowed because it was lockdown. I mean, it was really an emotional time because there was a lot of like questions in mind, like, should I go against the rule? But then is my grandmother going to be like completely alone, which is the first time she's been in like her life. So I feel like because of last year, like we've thrived through surviving this whole entire year of corona. And now like most of the people in Israel, I think there's like about 5 million vaccinated here in Israel. Like I'm lucky to say that mine was 3 weeks ago. Like I had my second vaccine, so we're still wearing masks. Like it's exciting, but then at the same time it's like you just kind of, I feel like we've got to the point where we've like let go. Like I think corona's like taught everyone to just like put your hands up in the air and say, it's not, I can't do anything. Like I literally can't do anything. So I think like, because we've already got this and we've had this and we've had the kids at home and stuff like that, I think it's quite good to kind of make a family meeting to say, and give age appropriate tasks. So like, for example, my son really wants to go, there's no, they have in Israel like Keitanot, which are summer camps that they do run by the school system, and so there's not and it's a thing that they've run for like just up until it's for next week. So like whereas all schools would end this week Thursday, they're extending another week. So my girls who are in the nurseries, they are going next week, but my boys are not. So instead they're going to be home. And so I try, I feel like it's important to kind of incentivize certain things for your families because, they're not, they're not your slaves and yet they can't get away with doing nothing. Like it is about like trying to share the roles together and make it, make it like accessible, make it kind of, make it real for them too, that they also feel good that they did things. So like, for example, one of my boys want to go to the Dead Sea. So I told them, if you go to the Dead Sea one day next week, during your free week, you're going to have to help with, I don't know, let's say I give them the task of like vacuuming the couches and like wiping down the table and the chairs. So like that would be their thing. And think up until a certain point when you know that the sheets have changed on the bed and the floor's swept and you've kind of quickly gone through the cupboard. Like, I don't think everything has to be gone through, but as long as you, like Mamash had a quick peek to see that there's no crumbs. You never know when kids bring things into the cupboards, but without having to take everything out and then work it out, declutter and da-da-da. Like, maybe try not, if you don't have the time, don't beat yourself up about decluttering your children's cupboards. Like, it's just taking things out, having a wipe down, putting it back in. And I think, like, once you know that there's certain rooms in the house that's shut off and there's no food going in, you can kind of have that, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, years ago, I was like, fanatic. I was like cleaning, driving my husband crazy. But now I've become less fanatic.
Yeah.
And I do what you just said. I make sure there's no food in certain rooms, and I know they haven't brought food there, and that's what you have to do. I think nowadays it's becoming more acceptable. There's many talks and shirim about being less fanatical. It's not. There's certain things you have to do, and then there's certain things you really don't
exactly.
have to do. But I have a funny story.
I don't think I was ever fanatic. I don't think I was ever fanatic. But I think particularly this year, I think just, the message is keep it simple. You're saying ask people to help 100%. You, ask your family to help you. And don't
outsource
more than absolute necessary.
Also, like, get your cleaning guy to like do the fridge. Like, if your husband can't, like, sometimes in houses, like my husband like used to say like, okay, well, I'll take on the kitchen, and I'm like, great, that's the hardest part. So like, if there's some years that like he's just like hasn't got the time to do it, then fine. So we've come to an agreement that the cleaning guy will spend extra time like going through, doing the oven, doing the fridge. Even now, I spoke to I feel privileged to say that I have, cleaning help once a week, and I see it as like something that I just, thank God, like, so appreciative of. But even now, yesterday, I said to him, well, like, next Monday, I would like you to, because like by next Monday, I want the fridge so by next Monday, I want the fridge cleaned out. Say Tuesday, I'll have all the fresh produce, like eggs and dairy and fish and chicken and that kind of thing inside of the fridge. And I want him to do the oven. So he said to me, okay, no problem. 1 hour before I come, just spray it all down. And I thought, great. So it's like a partnership thing, like with whoever you have to help you, you have to like work out, okay, well, I mean, it's hard to clean for Pesach when things aren't tidy. So like part of my thing is like tidiness is like for your visual space. Yeah, you want things to be tidy so that you can know where things are in your mind, like not because you're like neurotic about like how things should be, but just because it's just so much easier to find things. Like, I really do feel like less is more, because I think that like we complicate so many things in our lives, and like this might sound like a crazy thing to say, but I always think to myself, well, what if God forbid your house burnt down on fire? Like, in a way, it'd be like, okay, like okay, you'd be upset for like your sentimental heirloom from your grandparent or something like that, but besides that, it's like, all right, I can buy it all again. So which kind of makes me feel good about like not being attached to material goods. Like, as much as I like I'm a woman like the rest, like I'm not like anti-shopping and anti this. Like, it's always nice to get something new and feel good about yourself. Like, that's, I'm not going to wear the same rags like 20 years running. But I just think at the end of the day, it's like, keep things simple. And also, I do want to say another point. Like, there is this kind of competitiveness that people are like asking each other. It's like the buzz thing, like almost as if like now Corona's like, we can't keep talking our whole lives about Corona. So now it's like, our new thing to talk about is like this holiday coming up, which is Pesach. And, and we're saying to one another in our regular chat, how are you? Oh, how are you? What have you done? Have you done something? You started cleaning for Pesach? You started doing this? Da, da, da. And, and we always want to tell each other, like, oh, I worked so hard yesterday. I did the kids' room. I did the toys things. I did that. And it's like, if someone else did that, very nice, good for them. But at the end of the day, like, if you're the kind of person, like, when you're crashing tests, when you're like trying to cram for a test and you know yourself that you're really good at doing it in the last like 48 hours, some people have that approach to cleaning for Pesach too. So I really do feel like it's, obviously it's good to plan if you can, and it makes things easier, and certainly outsource help and get your family involved. But at the same time, like, if you're better at doing it last minute, then nothing wrong with that. And don't get caught up with the Mrs. Cohen and the Mrs. whoever who's telling you that they're doing a million other things and then make you feel really bad.
So true. It's so true. I took myself off some Facebook groups because some people have Pesach kitchens and they can pay. You can pay. So it's like, oh my gosh, I'm making bagels. So I'm just like, it's very true. You can only do what you can do. Like, just look at yourself. So it's hard. So it comes to the next question, which is, most people don't have
Pesach kitchens.
About that, most people don't have Pesach kitchens. So how do you change over, and when do you change over, and when are you planning to start cooking?
Okay, so as I say, like, Friday's our deadline. So basically for me, I mean, I think it depends, like, for me, because I know my cleaning guy comes on Mondays. And by the way, I always think it's so much better to have a cleaning guy than a cleaning gal, because the guy, he can move everything and you don't feel bad. Like, you're like, I need this. And it's like he's moving like an 8-ton kind of thing just to clean up underneath it. But if it was a woman, you couldn't really say that. So that's another topic. But so I know Monday, my cleaning guy is coming. I myself want to, like, he'll do the floors and stuff like that. He'll check. But like, as of like after Shabbat, like, Shabbat to me is the last of the chametz kind of spread out over the home. And then Sunday is like they can't have food in their room type of thing. And then Monday is the kitchen, so that's the fridge, the fridge, the oven, the gas stove. Oh, the gas stove my husband does at the end, because we have the set for Pesach, which thank God. So he doesn't have to, like, what's the word, like, burn it with a gas thing. We just change it over. So then Tuesday, my plan is to, like, buy the fresh things. And then I think if you leave yourself Wednesday and Thursday to do the cooking, I think that should be okay. Like, I think that with people that have, you were saying about to, like, the Pesach kitchen things. So if you do have a Pesach kitchen, you're able to, make that the treat, the benefit of that is that you're able to make, like, gourmet recipes, right? Because you have the space, you have the time. If you've already bought your goods 2 weeks ago, which is like your potato flour, your matzah meal, cocoa, sugar, blah, 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 you can start making, like, really beautiful desserts and stuff like that. But I think, like, last year taught us, when we were with our families, stuck with our families, like, just our, insular immediate families, you weren't making, like, meals that you were making for your usual 25 guests with, like, 4 courses. Like, I've always thought that, like, when I say less is more, like, I try to apply that also to, like, food, like, things that we have. Like, there's always plenty, but you don't need to have, like, 15 different salads. And I just think sometimes, like, by the time you've eaten your matzah with your charoset and your boiled egg and all the things from the Seder plate, and when you get to the meal, for like about 5-6 years now, all we've had is like a massive pot of chicken soup loaded with vegetables and matzah balls, and no one's hungry after that, because it's super nutritious, super filling. It has everything you need in a bowl. I even, like, treated myself to, like, the kosher for Pesach, like, hula hoop croutons that you can put on top. So my kids love that. And, I just think if I find it, great. If not, not. But I just think you have that. And like, there's plenty of incredible bakeries. You don't have to drive yourself mad. Like, you can buy like if you it's imperative for you guys to have something sweet like after dinner. Like either you can have like piece of dark chocolate, or some fruit. Like it doesn't have, or even like make a compote type thing. Like I don't think it has to be surplus.
Yeah. So again, just
True.
simple. I agree. Can we talk about freezers? Because a lot of people cook and freeze, and I only have
Yeah.
half a fridge and half a freezer. So this has always been a problem for me because I can only really do my cooking at the end because I can't fit a lot in. And I can't cook for like the end days of Yom Tov because I don't have room in my freezer.
No. I
Like,
also think that I've also like I've never really understood those balabusta types because I do kind of consider myself to be a bit of a balabusta. Like I feel like thank God like all my guests that we have. I mean, obviously it's been a bit less in the last year, but like I always feel like I make food that are certainly like crowd pleasers and things, without like driving myself crazy. But certainly in Israel, like we don't have a Sunday. Like our day off is Friday, which is also our preparation day for Shabbat. So I'm not going to Friday to like sacrifice going out for a nice, beautiful nature walk, with my family, or like going to the beach or something like that. Like I'll make sure that I'm done cooking Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, kind of thing. But like I say, I've learned to like do things quickly and and try to if you enjoy food, then you'll enjoy kind of making food, which works out for me. But I just think like you can't, when you have limited time, like if you're spending like hours upon hours making dishes, it's just like if that's what you enjoy, good for you. But I just think like there's so much other things to do in your life. Like it's like you just want to enjoy as well.
yeah, I hear you. Totally hear you. So that leads us on to our next question. Do you have any good, easy recipes you can share or meal plans like that you find works well for your
Good
family?
easy recipes. Go to the bakery. Buy some kosher Pesach cakes. So like the truth is actually, they say that the average person has become like a bit of a foodie, like during this year of quarantine, because what have you done but like learn recipes and cook all the time? Either you've like gone through the phase of like I cannot go into my kitchen another time and cook another meal for my family. I'm going to shoot myself. Or you kind of get into that phase where you're like, I'm making homemade bagels for the first time, and I'm making, and I really did. I'm telling you, I saw like Jamie Geller had a recipe. It looked really simple for homemade bagels, and I thought, great, and I made that. And it was like I want to say that I did. It's good to say you've done it once, but like, am I going to make it a regular habit in my life? No way. Like it's cheap enough to buy, and like, okay, it wasn't. I mean, there's so many more other things I want to do with my time. Yeah, so food wise, like my recommendation is like I don't know, keep it simple, like the loaded chicken soups. Like also, one thing I bought that I was like on my wish list for Pesach was a hand blender, because I like blended vegetable soups, and I just think that's just like really good and healthy. You're not like stodging your stomach all the time with matzah. There's the usual. There's like tuna casseroles, which are with matzahs, and like lasagna matzah, which is just cheese and tomato base. And then like everyone loves like matzah pizza. You can just put into the oven for the kids in the day. Start the day. We start the day with like a very big breakfast. Like so, it's matzah brie and cottage cheese and cut up vegetables on the side, and then like maybe mid-morning people will have a yogurt as well. Luckily in Israel, we do have a really like a lot of choice of Pesach goods. Obviously, you have to check if it's kitniot and not kitniot, if that's your thing or not. I'm grown up like eating kitniot and then marrying someone Ashkenazi, so now we're not eating kitniot. But do I find it hard? Not really. I think you have to tell yourself it's 1 week of your life. Like, you can do this. You've got this. You can always just put a chicken with vegetables in the oven. You can do meatballs. You can do anything that you normally do. Just substitute it out. Like, I think have like big breakfast to keep you going throughout the day. And then like when you're out and about, just takes like, I feel like we always have to take like a picnic bag of like the same things: cut up vegetables, boiled eggs, cheeses, and then if I'm lucky enough to get to like the chocolate matzah, they're just happy with that. Like the, you know what I mean? Like the printed chocolate onto the matzah, like that's their delight.
This is like classic Pesach. You're making me nostalgic. It doesn't change, does it? This is like my child.
No, and I think that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is like, okay, we'll eat cleaner. You know, like I'm a real bready person. Like oh my gosh, like every day I have to have bread. Like I can't not. So I just think, like also, I know you can technically kosher. I was told that you can technically kosher your Nespresso machine. But I just think, you know what, like for me, Pesach is supposed to be about keeping it simple. So then I think, yeah, I'm just going to put it away because it's 1 week and I can do without it. So I just think it's fine. I'll have instant coffee for 1 week. Like nothing's really going to, you know, like you have to work out what's important to you. Other people like it's really important to kosher their dishwasher and their Nespresso machine. And Pesach should be like as hassle-free to them as possible. And other people like, the attitude is, you know what, it's 1 week, I can just go with the flow. Okay, I won't be eating my usual this, but instead there's plenty of other things. Like you don't have to be you don't have to be like starving and hungry the whole week. You can just improvise. And also like you were saying about your freezer, like for stuff for the second, you know, it's a week long. So from the beginning of Pesach to the end of Pesach, you know, then you can spend time like the last day. Oh, I guess it's different for you guys because you have like 2 seders and we just have the one, so there's more preparation and things like that. But I think keep to like it's like people that make Shabbos. Like some people make Shabbat the same thing every week, and other like I couldn't do that because I just for me I like the enjoyment of it is trying different things. But then I realized, like, what does it mean? It means a lot of people have like the same type of thing, but just moderated. So like it's based on a chicken and potato or a brisket kind of meal or chulent, you know, and then it's just kind of like adapted. So like this week we'll have these kind of vegetables instead of these kind of vegetables, or, you know, it's just like loosely the same but somewhat modified. And I think that's kind of the way to keep you going. So like if you don't want to have the same thing on the first Seder night as the second Seder night, just like maybe keep one thing but then modify it so that you're, you know, eating something different.
I love your message. Make it simple, you know, don't drive yourself crazy. Like it's good for us women to hear that message.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
so it's a bit of a kind of, you don't have messy drawers or cupboards in your house, but maybe could you talk us through how to organize a cupboard or drawer? I mean, it's quite funny to ask you, do you have a messy drawer? Because that's what your job is, you organize things.
Right.
But
And for me, it's like, what?
could you talk us through how you do it or show us, whichever?
Okay, yeah. So like I like compartmentalizing things. Like, I think that works really well because like even if your kids are at the stage where they're, you know, getting themselves dressed in the mornings, and so, you know, they're in a rush, like they don't have the same desire to keep things orderly as you do. So like if they're going to take out a shirt, then everything else is going to be like, you know, like the pile's just going to be kind of like all over. So like I like baskets because I have baskets and I put things like, you know, not necessarily exactly, I don't fold exactly like the Marie Kondo kind of thing. Like I kind of do my own type of style, but like, so I have like the shirts kind of one onto the other like that way, as opposed to flat in a cupboard like that. And so if they take out the shirt, like I think at least if you see the baskets, even if the baskets are starting to get messy, things are still kind of contained. So you still know it like takes 1 second to kind of like re-tidy up the long sleeve shirts, the short sleeve shirts, the trousers, the underwear. Like I like having things separate because I also think it's good for them to see. Like you need it to be like less hassle for them. Like otherwise they need to understand how things are. So even the same with like I did a junk drawer for somebody. She likes to have like in her kitchen island, the top drawer is like a junk drawer. So I say like people don't need to like you could spend a fortune on all these like boxes and compartments, and I just think sometimes you can just go down to like even like the ones, you know, when you get like when you're giving a meal to someone, you have like the plastic boxes that you get from the supermarket. Like, to be honest, even those are like very more than okay to use, and they're very cheap, and they're like a quarter of the price of the fancy boxes. It doesn't have to be fancy. So like even those plastic ones, different sizes. So we organized, like, it was important for her to have like pens and like a notepad, and then like a drawer of hairbands and kipper clips for her son, and like dummies for her little kid. So like at least everything was, so then it didn't become like all like in one. So like those compartments were, you know, it was good for her to kind of like keep that. So I think that's a good way to organize a drawer, is with the baskets, to like separate stuff out. I definitely think baskets, because then once the baskets get messy, and they definitely do, everybody's baskets get messy. So like it's a lot easier to do than just starting again without it.
Right. At least you know where to put everything, even if it does.
Right. And also, if you're looking for something to live, like this is kind of like how I ask myself, like, where things should be organized. Like I look at an item, and like, where should this live? So like, I don't know, throw me out with anything. Like some people have sunscreen, like let's just say sunscreen. Like, so some people, it shouldn't live with, like some people it lives with the medicines, other people it lives with like the shelf that's just outside your front door, because let's say your kid has sensitive skin and you're religious about like spraying yourself with sunscreen all the time. That should then live, like, it's how it works for you in your home. So then that should live like by the front door. Other people that have it, that like barely use it, keep it with all their swimsuits and like bathing towels that they keep like in the cupboard. By the way, I want to apologize because I feel like I'm like using American words, because after so many years of being here, it's like, wait, am I speaking American? Am I speaking English? Like, what am I? So I don't know if you say like swimsuits and like bathing suits. I'm like,
Don't worry.
and also I've said to them, when I've said in the past like swimming costumes, they've been like, what?
You have to, yeah, because most people won't understand you if you do it the British
Right.
way. I have to say, there's something so soothing about all the. I was watching during Corona, during lockdown, I was watching the Home Edit, and their whole thing is boxes and labels, and they basically
Yeah,
take any cupboard,
exactly.
any room, and they just section everything, and they put different categories and put everything in boxes, and they label it. And there was something so satisfying about it. And I've
Yeah,
been doing that the past few
exactly.
months, and it's helping me deal with the chaos of what's going on in the world. It's just, you know, I think it's really important for mental health to be organized, because,
Yeah.
you know, we can't control some things that are happening, but in our own environment, I mean, obviously not in an extreme way, but we can feel organized and feel controlled about what we can,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. It's also like a tricky thing, because at the same time, like, you know, you've got multiple people living in your house, and like different personalities and different approaches to organization. And like, let's say like the mama is like the, you know, like she's the everything in the house because everything revolves around her. She's responsible. I'm talking in a classical traditional sense, like, you know, like let's say mum's boss in the house. So, you know, but at the same time, like, I feel like you have to also understand that, you know, there's other people that live there too, and other people that kind of, you know, have different ways to be, type of thing. And you know, like, if your kids won't necessarily, you know, it's their house too. And like, if they do want to kind of, if you don't have a playroom, then there might, like they say, the toys are in the bedroom, or you even have some in the living room, which is the shared space. I really think that it's important to let them use that space too, but then also to express that it's important for mama to have the toys put away after you've played. Like, sure, you can have your friends come, you can play together, you can use the space, but you have to also put things back, and then not take out 20 things at the same time. Like, take one thing, put it back, put another thing, put it back. Like, I think it's important to like express sensitivity to everybody living in the shared space, which is the house.
Yes. Yeah, I hear that. What I bought a few extra baskets for the playroom, for the toy room actually. And if you have, what I found is for the first time in my life, if you have systems that work, if you have places to put everything, it's the tidy up becomes a lot easier. It's not a massive deal that you put off for weeks and then you go sort through it all. It just, if you have the systems in place, then it becomes a lot less overwhelming.
Right, right.
So,
And
yeah.
clear plastic tubs. I like the tubs that have the clicks on the side. So like you need, it's as easy to like stay closed and stay locked as opposed to like just falling out with things or it's about like being smart about the storage boxes that you use and try to keep things as like, not all different shapes and sizes, but like, like I like the buckets with the clips for like the mega blocks and then like for the Legos and like, so it should all like be well stacked as well.
Yes, I got some of those plastic boxes with the lids, and then I just got some baskets where there's some general stuff that I just throw in the baskets, and I got rid of a lot. That was also key.
Right.
Um, yeah. So, okay, next we are going to ask you about whether you suggest a weekly cleaning schedule for women or weekly tidying up schedule, and do you have one that you go by as well?
Mine is hourly. No, first of all, I think if you leave it to once a week, there's some jobs that are like they're constant, they're daily. Like you have to understand like how things are. Like you wouldn't let dishes like pile up for a week. You'd go crazy. You'd have to be like I don't know, you'd have to be like really unwell to just like let it go that way because that's just like a headache.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it depends on how you are. Like a lot of people like to let the laundry build up, the laundry. They'd like to let it like build up for like 3 loads and then or like and then other women like to do it like once a day. Like I try to do things as if like first of all as much prep as possible. So sometimes if it's also about like your energy levels. Like you have to understand like do you have your energy levels like in the morning, but then do you also have the time to go with that for an hour in the morning, or can you do like or can you like blend it up as like a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening? Because I think there's certainly that there's like the breakfast routine and then everyone's out the house. So then there's like you put it into the sink. Like even if you don't get to wash up the dishes or put it in the dishwasher, like I feel like everybody should be like tuned to like not just like leave all their things all over the show. Like put the bowls back into the sink and then mum or dad puts the cereal boxes back on the shelf in the pantry. And then like there's also the sweeping the floor. Like that's the everyday things are like the washing, the sweeping the floor, the cooking, the shopping is I would say like twice a week type of thing because even if you do your once a week like big supermarket shop, you'll still need to get things from your local like grocery or Maccollet or wherever. Fillers during the day like when you change your mind. I try to have like a weekly food daily schedule kind of thing. Like I wouldn't say it's three meals a day. Like I know in my head like cereal's the morning, and then the evening is like based on what we have in the house as well. Also sometimes even making shabbat like. Unless I'm feeling like I really want to try something new. Otherwise, like I'll base my menu around what I have in the freezer. I like to stock up on like frozen meats and then just kind of pull that out and defrost it and like make something with that. And then fresh vegetables you just pick up as you go along, like just even from your local greengrocer to have it that day because that's always going moldy and things. But like when you are doing it in the fridge, it's important to take it out of the plastic bags because they sweat in the bags and they cause it to like decay quicker. They cause it to like mold. So like a lot of people I notice like when they keep the cucumbers, the tomatoes, the peppers, like take everything out of the bags and put that into like the vegetable compartment. And the same thing with the fruit. Like don't keep the bags. Like I think sometimes like packaging to me is also like is clutter. So like I like to take everything off and then I pile it up nicely and just like let things be loose type of thing. And then you see what you have.
Yeah, I hear that. Do you have like a schedule where you do like Monday the bathroom, Tuesday the kitchen? I know some people do this, or and like,
Right, right.
do you do that?
Um, I do washing every single day, and sometimes that's two loads, sometimes it's just the one. And once I have my like approach is like just because I don't like to see like piles of laundry, and I think like we all learn things that we have from our families. So like my mum, her like mantra to me was, as long as you're on top of your washing, everything's okay. So I don't know, that stuck with me for some reason. So what I do for that is like, even if like say in the morning, like just before I brush my teeth, like say the night before the machine's got the dirty things inside and I've already put the powder in. So for example, in the morning, I'll like brush my teeth and go to the machine and just turn it on. So that by the time like the kids are ready to go out the door, the machine has stopped, and then I'm ready to go out to work to a client or to do my errands for the day, and then I just put it into the dryer so that when I come home in the afternoon with the kids after the school routine, the clothes are ready from the dryer, they're doing their thing, they can play for 10, 15 minutes. I don't believe they need every minute of your undivided attention, and you can sit with them in the living room table and like start to like fold and pile per person and per room. And then it takes like, and then you go into the rooms and put them in the baskets of like, you can see here's socks, here's underwear, here's long sleeves, here's skirts. So I feel like the baskets make it easier for you to then put the laundry away quite quick. I like that in that sense. But like certainly I do the morning and I do the evening. And then other things, I guess the toilet's like something you just always need to do the whole time, especially when you have boys, you know, directional wise. Yeah. And I feel like, and it depends on your kids as well. Like, you know, sometimes like obviously during the corona and stuff, I was just like with my 3-year-old, I was like, just go back to gun. She's so destructive. Everything about her is just like a walking mess. Like she eats messy. Her hair's messy. She everything about her is messy. Like she's just like not my child. But so it's just funny because she's just like so messy. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you just have to like. I feel like there's many times that she's trying to be independent. She's trying to like use the bathroom herself, but then I feel really bad because I'm like telling her, don't wipe yourself in the toilet. Sorry, it's just so, sometimes it's just so gross. And like, or I'll just turn around to my husband and be like, oh my gosh, I've cleaned the toilet like 3 times today. I think I'm like whacking out. Like it's, but I think you'll say, keep them out. If you're lucky enough to have a garden, just like keep them out. Like get them to like play football, get them to like walk to the park, get them to even like, to be honest, it's easier for me to have other people's kids here because then they play with those children outside. You just cut them up a couple of fruits and you just like throw them outside, and you know, like if the weather's obviously not bad. And then you know what, you have to be like allowing TV is your best friend, you know, like if it's. So you have to just say to yourself, if you need the peace and quiet, if you're not feeling well, if you need to do something like in the peace of your own mind, then like it's really not going to kill the family to have like, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours straight of like mind-numbing cartoons for the kids. You know, like just don't feel guilty. Just all I'm saying is like don't feel guilty. Every day is his own challenge. Like every day is his own thing. And you know, some days you'll like be ridiculously productive, and then the next day you'll just be like dead in your bed. And you have to just say to yourself like, okay, this is today and this is tomorrow. Like I don't, so I think it's difficult to kind of like plan a routine because you have to kind of know your energy levels. You have to know your capabilities, and also like it's very hard. Like you can't like push too many buttons of people that you live with in your house, like because you're feeling on edge. It's very important to like try not to, you know, create the energy for like everybody else in the house to feel on edge too, because you're in this place and it's very important for you. Like sometimes it's also okay for you to just walk out of the situation and just say, I'm going for a walk, I'll be back in 10-15 minutes, I need to clear my head, and you know, then you come back and you start again.
Yeah, I really like that way. Energy, it's all about how much energy.
Sorry. As we're speaking, I did the trick of letting them watch a cartoon because I couldn't. So I'm just
Exactly.
so one of them's just. But do you in this? We're talking about this a lot, but you don't. Do you have a particular system? Do you have
For
for tidying? Like, do you have?
oh, okay. So
Rafa was
okay.
talking about a system. I don't know the names of systems, but is there a particular system for tidying, or did you just fall into it, or did you learn how to do it?
I think it's genetic. You know, my grandmother is Yemenite, and they say like Yemenites are like the most yekim of the Sephardi world, even though the Yemenites aren't technically Sephardi. That's just a technicality. So like, I know like they say like my grandmother was like so particular about like how things are, and like the coffee cup should be placed at like 90-degree angle and not like 180-degree. Like, and something that's just a crazy example, but like first of all, I have it genetic, but like I always found that I was like doing it for people, like even as a young babysitter and stuff. Like, you know, I couldn't. I kind of have this like I'm like blessed with a lot of energy that I can't really sit still, and I found like sitting still is just like if I'm a guest at someone's house, like I'll want to tidy up and help them after, because it's part of me like making them have it easy. But it's also part of me kind of just like showing my own gratitude too. So I just think like, you know, it's like so much, wouldn't that be amazing? Like your Shabbat guest, like all of a sudden takes your broom without asking you. Like when they ask you, it's like, okay, don't ask, just do it. Like they take the broom and they just start like sweeping your floor for you. You know, that's just such an awesome thing. Like I just think it's just, you know, you're like, great, come back next week. You know, it's like, it's an awesome thing. Like, so I've kind of always had it built in me. And also like, I'm very like I'm trying to, you know, like the Corona thing is really like, it's really taught a lot of people like this year about like what's important to us and our priorities, like, you know, like what's valuable to us. And like, so I really think like tidying is so much more like, for me, I love like learning like how we are creatures of habit, like what makes us tick, why we buy, and how the whys and the hows of who we are and what we do. Like, is that because it's been built in around us by like our peers are like, they're all buying this, so therefore I think I need this too. Like, it's important to kind of, so I feel like decluttering is also really cool because it helps you to stop and think, like this physical thing. You ask yourself questions about who you are through what you have. So you say like, you know, does this item, like, is it beneficial to me? Like, does it make me happy? Like, is this a useful thing? You know, and even like now I was going through my cupboard, and you know, like I do like I go through my cupboard a lot more often than say once a year Pesach. But like I just, obviously because it's Pesach too as well, so, and I was doing the boys' closet like I said, so I decided like I just put some laundry back in my own closet, and I'm looking through just like my basic shirts, and some of them it's like, you know what, I put it on, it's just like, it's a little bit tight, it feels fine, you can wear it underneath something else, but then I thought to myself, why? I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. So goodbye, like goodbye. And I think sometimes so a lot of people, this is when I have this with a lot of clients, that sometimes they'll say, oh, but my mum bought it for me, and or my aunt bought it for me, and like, I just can't get rid of it. It's just like so, and I'm like, they don't use it, they don't need it, they don't like it. They keep it because they feel guilty. So then I try to help people by ridding themselves of the guilt, to say, what is someone's, was it one trash is another person's treasure? So like what would not be good for you, you just have to have the understanding that someone else would be so happy, and you don't have to tell your family member that you gave away their thing. Like, you know, they don't need to know that type of thing. So I just think like it's really important to, like, when you're organizing, to like rid yourself of guilt and be honest about who you are and why you are a creature of habit in the habits that you have.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, you've kind of just covered this. We were going to ask you how you approach clutter. So it's really about thinking about whether how it makes you feel, almost like whether you need it
Yeah.
and whether you
And the
do.
purpose that it serves, exactly, because like I said, going back to the house burning down example, which is crazy, but it just makes me feel like, well, you know, if you say to someone like, God forbid the house burnt down, the first question you would ask is like, was there anybody in there? Like, which goes to show that just that answer within itself tells us that people are a million, like, infinities worth, you know, value, like the value of like human beings versus our possessions is just like so much greater. So it kind of makes me feel like, well, if you had to start again, you would. And a lot of us have made life changes where we've, either made aliyah or like got remarried or moved houses or lost a spouse and then moved to like another side of the country and so I feel like we all like our life is constantly evolving and changing, and the things that are contained within the life should also be changing, and that within itself helps us to understand how we shouldn't be possessed by our possessions. Like I really try to people to like lighten themselves. Like I don't necessarily believe in like minimalism per se, because for some people living a life that's full of joy is like having things all around them, having tons of artwork, having tons of like cooking things and utensils because that's what they like to do. Like you have to be real about who you are and your needs, but at the same time like understand that like within the fingertips like everything could just be gone, and to just not to have that attachment that you're really holding on to it.
Yeah, it's very deep actually. And it's interesting that people contact you often at points of transition in their life. Births, deaths, divorces, moving, you say. So it's all about the life cycles and keeping things fresh and changing things as you go along, as you move through life.
Exactly.
Something else you mentioned was that sometimes communities hire you to help with chesed.
Right. So so for example, like I'll get a lot of phone calls from let's just say someone in a family, like I got a phone call from somebody to say that it was within the gush, but like the other side of the gush to where I am, so like a good 20-minute drive away. And her husband, she has 5 kids, Israeli, and she has 5 kids, and like her husband's post-army, like going in the hospital now for intensive like post-trauma treatment. So he's not available, he's not around with the kids. So she's basically like a single mum because of like her husband like mentally being unable to be there at the moment. So like the community as such, like put money together to get someone to help reorganize, shall I say, her house, so that things, at least her home is a place of like calm and like a sanctuary for her, rather than because many times it's like lives are so chaotic, and this is why I understand it to be like the need to have a professional come in to help you is because your life is so chaotic outside of your home that your home is a place that you come to, and it doesn't have to be a palace, it doesn't have to be something that's just like absolutely shining and beautiful. But it just has to feel like it has to feel like your home. So if you don't have that because you've not been in a space that you've been able to dedicate any time to kind of like, it's just been accumulation, nothing's been, like it's just, it hasn't worked for you because your life is so chaotic, then you just need someone to like hit that restart button and help you with your home, so at least one area in your life is a place of calm. Like it's going to give you that sense of that you can do it. That you're. This is it. This is where I feel good. This is who I am and where I am. This is where the most important people in my life are. My husband and my children, and this is where like I build my foundation for who I am.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Okay, I think we've lost Joanna. She might have had to go.
Right.
Do you want to tell us how people can contact you, where they can find you, if they want to learn more about you or to hire you?
Yes. So I'll just air my phone number, I guess. I have a website called So I have a website called Design Declutter because I think as well as it's important to organize and stuff like that, like I love looking at like the design of the space, of like how the space is designed, like can you add inexpensive items in to like style your home to make it feel better for you. So I'm very much interested in that too, as well. And saving you money, sometimes using what you already have in your house to just change things around to change that design. So that's why I named the business Design Declutter. So there's a website, designdeclutter.com. Also on Facebook I have a page, And my phone number, shall I just tell you my phone number now, or would you want to print it out?
I probably Facebook website, and you have an Instagram as
Okay.
well. Right? That's probably the best.
Yes. Yes.
Your
Yes.
Instagram is Design Declutter as well, or is it your name?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know, I'm so bad. I think I can't remember because I'm not like the best at these things technology-wise, but either Dalit or I think it's my name, but it is my business. I'm not exactly sure, but yes,
Okay.
it's Dalit. Dalit
You know
Esther
what?
Rosin.
I'll look it up and I'll put it on the notes. So if people
Okay,
want to reach out to me,
awesome.
they can. Thank you so much. This was really helpful.
Thanks.
Slightly more prepared for Pesach. I'm going to start making my list today.
Okay,
And we'll be in touch soon. Have a wonderful Chag.
thank you. And just everyone, I just want to tell you, please don't stress. It's 1 week of your life. Be kind to yourself. Things can always be, there were people, I just want to tell this story, which always kind of, I remember last year when people were getting corona, like in the crazy way that it's not necessarily, when we weren't necessarily knowing about it and people were like out cold in bed for 3 weeks straight, and this was mamash during Pesach time. They were told like it was out of their control, like they couldn't start cleaning their house for Pesach. They had to do the basic of the basic of the basic. I don't think they even could clean their fridge out properly. I think they could just put like a sheet down and then just put the things on there, and had to like just sell all the chametz off kind of thing. Like sometimes you're just not in a position where you can do everything that you want to do, but just go easy on yourself. Like planning really helps, but also know yourself and your energy levels. Decluttering and organizing gives you more energy. It's like a cycle type of thing. Like once you do it, you get more, and you carry on doing, you get more energy type of thing. But like, go easy on yourself and don't be too hard. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Like if you get teenage girl babysitters so you can get on with things, or it's cleaning guy help. Like we're human. We can't take everything onto our shoulders with everything that we have. So really just know yourself and like only ask yourself these things because nobody else knows you better than you do.
It's exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you so much, Dalit.
Pleasure.
We'll be
Hag Sameach. Lots of love.
lots of love.
And eat
Bye.
lots of potatoes.
What's that?
Eat lots of potatoes because what
Oh,
else is there?
of course, I
Yeah.
will. That's a given. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.